Hello people YouTube, welcome back to my channel, welcome back to some more of the Golf Club 2, which is a game that I'm really impressed with. As I say again, it does have some glitches. I think there's a patch maybe, I think there's a patch out for the PC, but I don't think it'll be out for the PlayStation for a while yet. So in today's video I'm actually going to do a sort of tutorial on how to play the tour clubs. Now, people may play tour clubs different, or they may approach it in a manner that might make them play sort of poor. Um, I've seen a lot of people play tour clubs and then kind of say that there's not a lot of difference between player and tour clubs. I think there's a huge difference. I mean, there's 25 yards for a start, and that is the distance you gain over a driver and a three wood. That's like maximum range. So you get 25 yards, which is quite a lot. I mean, when you go to like a par five, 25 yards can mean the difference between making the green and not making the green. So it's a massive difference. A lot of people have said that it's for bragging rights. Again, there might be a certain prestige in playing tour clubs over other people. But the main reason that I've chosen to play tour clubs is because of the difficult level. It makes it more difficult off the tee, especially, and it actually makes it more difficult throughout the whole game. But for me, it's difficulty first and foremost. You know, when I play with tour clubs, I feel that you've got to concentrate from tee to green. Where sometimes with the player clubs, it's more a case of just getting the wind right and then hitting the shot. Where the tour clubs, you've got to hit that draw and fade shot. And I'll get into the draw and fade shot soon enough. But here you see, I've got the tour clubs there selected so that you know that I'm playing them. Although you will be able to see that. So what I'm going to do is I'm probably just going to play a course, but I'm going to go to the practice range first. I'm in offline mode here. What course should we play? I don't really think it matters too much. I don't know. Wait till we pick one. We'll play Scrublands. I don't know why I picked Scrublands, but we'll just do it. So let's go and practice. Now, probably one of the key things to playing well with tour clubs. Now, first off the bat here, I'll just say that I'm not the greatest player that's ever lived, and I don't claim to be. I can play the game decent, but I make mistakes. I make bogeys. I'm not this kind of guy. I've got the ability to shoot like a 60, potentially even on these clubs, but I play kind of steady. I'm not the greatest player, so practice range is quite a good thing to do before you tee off, and it just gets your feel. It gets you kind of in the zone. Now, I talked before about draw and fade. Now, you can draw and fade it with the shot modifier here. You can put draw, you can put fade, but these clubs actually have a natural draw and fade. You can also hit a straight shot. Now, the reason I'm sort of going on about draw and fade is because to hit a straight shot in this game is actually quite tough. You can do it, and it is possible, but the chance of hitting a straight shot is relatively thin. So what I find, one of the first things that you need to get your head round on tour clubs is choosing to hit a draw and a fade shot basically when you want to hit it. And what I mean by that is if the wind's coming, say the wind's coming off my back here, it's coming from the left, then that would favour a draw shot because the shot is drawn into the wind, so it's holding for the first maybe 100 yards of the flight of the ball, and then it will start to drop off with the wind. Vice versa, if it comes from the right, you'd probably want to hit a fade, so it's doing the exact same shot, but it's going into the wind. You don't always have to hit that shot, but that's just that's just something that's good to have. So the first shot I'm going to hit here, I'll probably go with a drop. So I'll aim just off the centre line here. The wind, as you can see, is coming 5 miles per hour from the right slightly, kind of more into my face, not across. So I'm going to set up the control pad here, and I'm going to swing and hope for it. Hit a draw shot. Now that downswing was fast. It was just slightly to the left, probably nearer straight there. But I did catch it with a fast downswing. That's something that you need to eradicate because that will really mess your day. Try again. Right, there we go. Perfect, perfect. And there's the slight draw shot. You can see there how it turns slightly over. And that's like a natural draw shot. So that was to the left of the cone. So let's just repeat that. Let's just try and do another one. So there we go. There's another draw shot. See there, left side of the cone. And it basically it puts on a nice draw. You can go from between a slight draw to, I wouldn't say an extreme draw, but slightly more if you go to the edge of that cone. Now what I'm going to do here is, and this is probably the better shot for this type of wind. It's not really much. It's almost blown into her face. Now I'm going to slightly change. I use the cradle technique. I've got a video that I put up, I think last week, where I show you how I hold my control pad with what I call a cradle technique. It's slightly different from what probably most people play. I find this to be more accurate. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to slightly change my control pad grip. Just turn it. Turn the control pad, rotate it anti-clockwise slightly. And then what I'm going to try and do here is hit a fade shot. So there we go, there's the fade shot. Probably almost on the edge of that right side of the cone, and you can see there it fades to the right. So I'm going to do that shot again. Fade shot, and there you see. So that's me done, 2 draws, 2 fades. And really, probably the kind of pre-shot routine or the practice range routine that you should really use is maybe change it up, like hit 5 draws and then hit 5 fades and then go to the course, or do two fades, 2 draws, 2 fades, 2 draws, 2 fades, 2 draws. Just kind of mix it up a little bit. So I'm going to go back, I'm going to hit a draw. So I've just moved my thumb over. I've kind of reset the control pad. And there we go, there's a draw shot. So basically, I've got the ability to hit a type of shot that I want to hit when I want to hit it. And that's, for me, if you want to play the 2 clubs and get pretty good with them, this is something that you really need to practice. And that one's actually went straight. Probably just a slight bit of left draw on it, but not a lot. So I'm going to re-grip, I'm going to change my grip here a little bit, and then I'm going to hit a fade. Yep, hit a draw. Sometimes you will do that. I mean, you can't always hit the shot you want. Sometimes you just get the control stick over a little bit. So that was not the shot I wanted to hit there. So there we go. That's probably right on the slightly, maybe even just outside, or right on the edge there. Still a good shot. There's another fade. So that's me demonstrated how to hit fade shots, and this actually goes through the whole entire bag that you need to hit these shots. So let's get down to a sand wedge. I'm going to hit, you can see there, probably have to aim over a little bit, so let's hit a draw shot. So there we go, that's just slightly, comes back to the centre line. Probably try and hit a little bit more of an extreme draw. That's better. You can see there, that draws over just a little bit more. It's right on that 100 stick. Now, I'll play a fade shot. So I'm probably going to hold this into the wind a little bit. And there you see, just a slight amount of fade, but we got that very fast. That was poor tempo actually. Let's try this again. There we go, that's better. And you'll see how that'll hold the wind. And it'll probably right on that 100. There's the 2 pitch marks. So that's how you can see that, just like, you know, even with a sand wedge in your hand, that you're going to hit slight variations in shots, but you need to be able to hit that draw and fade shot, and it becomes more important as you play. So let's go to the course, and let's play maybe 2 holes. Maybe we'll pick the longest tees, black tees. Not really worried about pin positions. So we're going to take it to the course now. I'll say this again. I'm not by any means an expert on this. People shoot a lot lower scores than what I do, even on probably tour mode or tour clubs. So you see the first hole here. Let's get an indication of wind. Now that wind would basically set up the draw shot. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to aim over here, because you're going to really judge the wind now, but the first maybe 100 yards of the flight is going to be into the wind. It's going to hold it pretty much straight, so we're going to set up for the draw shot here. And we get a fade. Now that's still going to be an okay shot. It kind of holds its line, and we kind of get away with it. Now this is quite a wide fairway, so it wasn't really a shot that probably needed to be hit as a draw. So we hit that one actually quite poor. So again, this shot I really want to hit the draw, so I'm going to aim over, because this ball is going to obviously the lie of the land there. So 133, probably just a little bit more meat in this. Now I could set up for the draw shot, and there we get the draw shot. Slight drop, that's going to hold into that wind, and there you see there it's right on line. So that actually held up against that wind. Because we were using the draw, it's fighting against the wind, so you get quite a good shot. Right, putt. I'm not really going to worry too much about putting here, but we'll kind of guesstimate this putt here. And we get it in. And if I'd actually spent time in that, I probably would have missed.
Starting around under par,
so
nothing like it.
A lot of people will probably just play a shot and try and get it within the cone, but the kind of thing that I'm trying to sort of promote here and trying to kind of like tell you that you really need to find a shot, either a draw or a fade, and people say, oh, you don't need to worry about that, but
let's see what you can do here.
Sometimes when it comes down to certain shots, you really are going to need to hit that shot. You know, it's not just a case of, oh, if I miss the draw and hit a fade, I'm going to be okay. Sometimes you're not going to be okay. So here we go again. This favours the draw slightly here. So we're just going to aim over to this bunker here. Right, you want to get the draw in this. I'm setting up my controller. I'm getting it to the point where I'm happy that I'm going to hit the draw shot. And there we go. That, very fast. So that tempo was poor. Now that's going to happen from time to time. We're actually just going to chip out here, I think. Let's just try and get this back on the fairway.
Bit of a greasy swing.
I probably would have went for the green, to be
Now
honest,
we're back on the
in that
fairway.
situation.
Let's take a
But
look at hitting this green.
right, it's pretty much straight in. Now what I'm going to do is, if I could hit a straight shot, that would be pretty much perfect. But what I'm going to do is actually put some draw on this ball. Now what we've got, 4 down, 75. Let's put a little bit on it. Right, let's hit the draw shot. Oh, it's a pitch shot, sorry. Okay. It's actually coming back. So basically what I'm trying to do is that you really need to be accurate. I've actually hit a couple that are fast. For some reason, I don't know why I do it. You get the odd time you really do seemingly swing very fast. This is actually quite a difficult putt here. Downhill. Wow. It's amazing how the putts drop and you're not really like worrying too much about it. So let's play this third hole.
Coming off a par on the last one. Let's see what happens here.
So the wind's behind, so you really don't need to hit a certain shape. Probably actually, I could do really just hitting a fade here. So I'm setting up the control pad. So there's a fade shot. See how it holds into the wind?
Nice. Should be in the fairway.
And we get a really nice looking shot. Now you don't need to play like this. You could just try and hit it straight. But the thing that I'm trying to say is that you're never going to hit a straight shot. Well, you can, but I mean there's more chances of hitting either a slight draw or a slight fade, or maybe just slightly more than that. So if you can like cut that out and hit the shot that you want to hit, it's going to be a lot better. Now this shot here, I want to hit like a fade into this wind. So here we go, setting up for the fade. So there's a fade shot. You see how it holds over. Now we hit that fast, but because we hit it right, the fast shot actually counteracts, which I don't like. I think if you hit it fast or slow, it should.
Wow, you hit that green and under
It should
regulation.
result in a really bad shot, but that's actually ended up quite good because we did hit it fast. But I'm dead against that, if I'm honest. And another top tip here, and I've noticed this quite a few times, that when you look at a putt here, for instance, this is straight at our feet, straight the next line, dead straight the next line after that, and then there's a slight twist. Now there's a good way to check to see if that is straight, because you can see there, I can guarantee you that there's a slope there, because if you look at the next line in front of us, there's a bit of slope to the left, there's a bit of slope to the right. I can guarantee you that probably isn't straight. Now what I do is triangle button on a PlayStation 4, and then you basically come down to eye level. Now if you look at the bottom of the television screen, it might be different in my telly. I'm right on that line, but when I look at my preview, I'm actually slightly ahead of it. So you can see there that line behind us is straight. I'm going to look at this. Yep, that's dead straight. Let's look at this next line here. Now, I can actually tell you that it's fairly straight, but you can actually see there that I think there is a slight. It's slightly coming from the right. And that's probably the same, slightly from the right. So that's a good way to check. If anybody's played this game, they probably know that sometimes a putt that looks straight and it suddenly there's a slight break and you actually miss the putt. But if you go down low and you use the bottom of your television screen, you can actually see that there is a slight bit of break on that. So that putt is not as straight as it looks. And I'm going to aim left edge. And there you can see there was just enough. It went centre cup. But that's a top tip.
For the round.
if you look at a putt and it's perfectly straight, I've got the habit now where I just double check it because I don't believe that it is perfectly straight. Especially if there's break elsewhere in the putting line, or to the left or to the right. To me, there always is a little bit of a variation. It's never really much, but if you can determine that there is a little bit of break, you can compensate and probably get the putt. Where if you just putt, say, no, it's a straight putt and you miss, that's a good way to check. That's a good top tip.
Okay, here we go.
So this is probably the last hole that I'll play in. Again, we've not really got a favourable wind, if we're honest. What I'll try and do here, we've got a slight wind coming over. So what I'm going to do is, what we've got, 11 foot down. It's going to be roughly 4, 202. We'll hit this in. This is probably about the right club, kind of. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to actually hit a draw shot. So there's a draw shot. Now this should go to the left. Maybe not by a huge amount, but you can see there, you know, maybe what, 10 foot to the left, the line was. And that's how I think it's very important to aim and commit to a draw or commit to the fade shot. And that's how you get really good with tour clubs. Now, again, as I said before, I don't consider myself to be the best player in the world, but I think for people that are maybe wanting to learn the tour clubs, it's quite good to just start learning to hit draws and fades and understanding what happens when you play that shot. We might actually play one more hole. But I'll tell you a story. I played a society match. This guy's got a YouTube channel and he actually played a fantastic round of golf. He shot 60, which was 13 under par. It was the Atlantic course, I think it's called. And he played a fantastic round of golf. So I was playing tour clubs, and I have been playing tour clubs the last sort of week and a half. So I decided to step down to player clubs because I thought that it would give me an advantage. You know, I wouldn't maybe hit a lot of bad shots. Not that I really do hit a lot of bad shots with tour clubs. You do hit the odd one. You know, you sometimes do hit a hook. You sometimes hit a bad swing. Tempo's off. You know, you will make mistakes. But I thought I would go down to the player clubs just to give me what I thought would be maybe an advantage. And I went and played that course, and I can't remember my score, but I wasn't shooting like a lot under par. I can't remember my score, but I might have been 3 or 4 under par, or maybe 5 under. I wasn't like a huge amount, and to be honest, I actually missed playing the tour clubs because of that advantage with distance. And a lot of people say that, oh, there's not much distance, but there really is. There's a massive amount of difference. I mean, 15 yards more carry is a huge amount. And when you look at especially like a par 5, if you've got 270 with player clubs, that extra sort of 15 yards, not only does that give you 15 yards closer to that number, but your 3-wood is actually 10 yards further carry than player clubs. So it's 25 yards, which, I mean, I think that's just a huge distance to gain. And I would say to end out there that's maybe playing player clubs, I felt I was getting really consistent on player clubs. The first spell in this game, I was struggling to hit the tempo, but then once I started to get the tempo swing, like perfect, I wouldn't say that I got bored of the player clubs, but I felt I was playing a lot better, and the game was starting to become a bit too easy. And that's when I decided to move up to tour clubs. But you really need to get into the way of playing draws and fades with tour clubs. That's the biggest tip I would say to anybody out there that's maybe played tour clubs and maybe played them just like trying to hit in the cone. To me, playing tour clubs is not all about hitting in the cone. You've got to hit to one side of the cone, and it may not seem important, but I think it is quite important actually. So I'm going to set up for the draw here. We get the fade now. This is probably going to find the rough
here, not the good kind,
because we didn't get the draw shot, and that to me that's one of the biggest things. If you miss a shot, if you don't get the draw, then you're not going to get it on the fairway. Do you know what? I'm just gonna chip this out. Oh, why did I do that? I don't know why I did that shot.
Normally would get the ball sitting above your feet on this one. Just letting you know.
Again, I'm just gonna chip it out again. I'm not really worried about a score today. I'm just really demonstrating the swing. So the emphasis for me is on hitting to that right or left side of the cone, the draw or the fade. Now in this shot, I would say that hitting the draw is going to be beneficial. Now we're going to slope over a little bit, so I'm probably going to aim here. I'll probably aim nearer the flag and then I'll let it draw over. So what we got, 6 up, which is basically 2. It's playing 150 into that wind, 155. I'm going to loft this up just a bit. This might not be perfect dead on. So what we really want to do here is hit a draw shot. And there we go, perfect draw shot. Might actually drift over a little bit. Yeah, maybe didn't get that slope as good. But that's my kind of tutorial on how to play the tour clubs. Go to the practice range and start hitting draws, start trying to hit fades, and then kind of do it where you basically, you know, somebody that's maybe in the room with you, watching you play, somebody shouts out, says hit a draw, you hit a draw. Somebody says hit a fade, you hit a fade. And having that ability to hit that shot when you need it is absolute key to playing tour clubs. A lot of people don't really bother too much with that. They might just concentrate on hitting it in the cone, but if you want to be precise and get it really close a lot of the time, you really do need to hit into that kind of zone where you need to hit a draw shot or a fade shot, and we just missed that part.
Alright, a little 6-foot putt here.
Anyway guys, I hope you found that interesting. I hope you found it useful.
Takes you up to even par.
If you want to check out the video that I made with, that was a really terrible hole actually, 7. If you want to check out my cradle technique, which is just the way I personally hold the control pad, I'll put the link in the description below to that video, or I might put it in the end. But it's quite an interesting video, and I think it's a good way to hold the controller for playing golf games. But because some people hold it not a kind of normal, like just grip it like just a standard, the way they play most games with a control pad, I completely change it around and hold it in what I call a cradle technique. And I think for hitting, especially using the analog sticks, is probably, I think, the best technique to use playing this game. But if there's anybody out there that's maybe played the tour clubs and not really played them all that well, you know, give it another shot. Try and concentrate on hitting those draws and fade shots, and you know, it probably will make you score better with tour clubs. So I hopefully that's going to help a lot of people. But anyway guys, hope you enjoyed the video. I'm just going to go back to the main screen here.
Okay, it's time to send this ball on its way.
I hope you enjoyed that video, and as I say again, sometimes you just get to approach playing tour clubs slightly different, and play precision shots with either the draw or the fade. As I say again, I've had quite a few shots straight, but you're never going to do it like 99.9% of the time. a lot of that you're going to be either hitting the draw or the fade. So once you can actually hit that shot off the tee or off the fairway, or just hit it whenever you want, that's the biggest key to the two clubs. If you get your head around that, you'll start scoring really well with the two clubs. But anyway guys, hope you enjoyed this video. As I say, I'll link my cradle technique probably at the end of this video. If it doesn't come up in a kind of annotation type thing somewhere on the screen, it'll be down in the description below. But anyway, hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you for more videos coming up soon. Take care guys and girls. Enjoy the rest of your day. Catch you later. Bye.